This video is going to be a look at three really exciting players, receiving threats that the Ravens have. All rookies, one of them drafted in the 4th round, Isaiah Likely, and then two undrafted guys trying to make a name for themselves. Shamar Bridges kind of comes out of nowhere, a little more than Makai Polk, just in terms of the university, the college that he came from. But the guy made a bold statement in training camp. In rookie minicamp, actually, we heard a lot about him. In training camp again, and then in the first preseason game. So I'm going to start this video with him. I have used this title before, Young Guns, about a video that I did of Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins before. So, my apologies for using the same video title. But this one's pretty fun and honestly exciting. And I want to be upfront that, preseason games don't mean anything, clearly. And there are people who are going to be cautiously optimistic or just cautious, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not. I think there's a lot about Shamar Bridges to like that's going to translate over. Can he do these things against number 1 corners in the NFL? I don't know. I mean, if he's on the field with Mark Andrews, Rashad Bateman, James Prochet, and Likely, who's going to be guarding Shamar Bridges? How are they going to match up? I love what the Ravens have done in terms of the size of the receivers they're bringing in. What I said in my reaction video initially that night was, look how easy this is for him. I don't know who he's going up against, and I kind of don't care, for real. I mean, does it matter? Yes, it does, but I don't care because he looks like the type of person who can do this against every 5'10" defensive back in the world. Can he actually do that? Can he do that against 95% of them? Can he do that against 90% of them? I don't know. I want to find out. I hope you do too. And that's what I mean when I say I'm optimistic, probably to the point of being overly so, for real. If you're interested, you have access to these plays on my online database. And this video, again, is only about Bridges, Likely, and Polk. I'm going to start with Bridges. This is the second jump ball, fade, go, whatever you want to call it, that he had in that preseason game against the Titans. Anthony Brown was in at quarterback, and Anthony Brown certainly did some good things. And one of the things about a too-high safety structure is you go trips to attack it, or at least see how they're going to play it. So this safety here ends up spinning down to play the number 3 receiver. Actually, he just drops to the low hole. Some people call it a robber. That's kind of simplistic because sometimes he's actually just taking 3 vertical. If number 3, which is Josh Oliver in this case, was to go vertical, then this safety could handle it. That's just, you always want to find out what too high safety teams are going to do against trips when you put 3 receivers to one side. One of the things that is so enticing and so exciting about Shamar Bridges is that as the backside X, that's going to possibly remove those options for defenses. If he can do things like this, even, he got 2 opportunities in the preseason game and he took advantage of both of them. So he's 2 for 2. Let's say he only hits on 70% of those. I don't know what the typical percentage is on a guy winning jump balls like this. I don't know what it should be. But what I'm saying is if he can do this with a high level of efficiency, then what that forces defenses to do is keep this second safety available to help out because, we should have a size and athletic mismatch with Bridges' backside against a smaller DB, which most DBs, in order to be fast enough, they are going to be 6'1" or smaller. Some of them, like Richard Sherman and others, are 6'3". But you see the space that's created for Shamar Bridges, and he does not need a ton of separation. That's one of those really like overly used terms anyway, is like separation. There's guys who can do that right there. There's guys who can finish at the rim in basketball with very little separation. Point guards, 6'2" point guards in the NBA have to figure out a way to get their shot off with 6'10" trees in there. The reverse is true here. Shamar Bridges is the 6'10" tree on a field on a football field, and we have a guy, a potential talent there that I just don't know that the Ravens have had a lot of in previous years. You can tell me, if you probably remember better than I do in certain cases. Now, this is another thing. The next 2 routes I'll show you, which will be the last 2 for Bridges. Shorter routes, in-breaking routes, being a bigger receiver is actually advantageous there as well. I believe this is later on in the game, and he's getting off coverage by the corner, so we just take the short stop route. Slightly underthrown ball by the quarterback, but he's got the number 2 receiver breaking out to that side. So I think he's trying to keep the ball away from that receiver and that defender by pushing it more towards the sideline, and for whatever reason ends up pulling down on it a little bit, and the ball comes in too low. Shamar Bridges still makes the catch. that off coverage is going to be there for a guy who wins those matchups. And again, you see it down here in the end zone. This could have very easily been his second touchdown. He runs a slant to the inside, and it's there. You've got an in-breaking route by the number 2 receiver, which is occupying this DB, this nickel. You do have an inside linebacker, so this ball can't be thrown too far in here, so that will bring that inside linebacker into play. I think Anthony Brown's getting rid of it quick enough to fit this thing somewhere in here and give Shamar Bridges a chance to catch it, protect himself, and maybe get into the end zone. Unfortunately for us, you got a really nice play by this D tackle to knock the ball down. Shamar Bridges puts himself in position again to make a play. I can't wait for the second preseason game to see what he does. Well, look, let's be honest. It's Sunday night. Ravens got practice this week, and with our receiver health situation, Shamar Bridges is going to get opportunities this week against the starting defense. It's going to be very interesting to see what kind of news comes out of it. All right, Isaiah Likely stuff now. And I'm going to digress a little bit here. First of all, Isaiah Likely is exciting as hell to watch. Here, this is a scramble drill, and I'll try to break this down. And there's other people, like good friends of mine, that would be able to break this down better than me, for real. It's a great play by Huntley. It's a great job by Isaiah Likely of making himself available. By the way, I have zero end zone angle footage here, but last year we ran a lot of, and I call it snag, where with the number 1 receiver, where we had a guy go in motion and then run out into the flats. The guy out in the flats was usually Marquise Brown. This guy running the snag was usually Rashad Bateman, in some cases Sammy Watkins. The snag normally puts you somewhere around the top of the numbers. Okay, so here's the top of the numbers. All right, you see that there? It's quite clear. In the air raid system, and by no means are we an air raid team, the top of the numbers is an important area. It's a landmark, okay? It's a landmark for plays on schedule, the snag concept. It's also a landmark for when the quarterback breaks contain. So in some of these situations where you have a guy running a deeper route, when the quarterback extends the play, you want him to come back to the football. And you want the guys running a short route to go long, so that they're not clogging up the same area, and they're creating lanes for the quarterback to throw it into. Also, a landmark that the quarterback has is the top of the numbers. So I have seen these things at the high school level. I've never seen the Ravens do it, obviously, but I have no doubt they do, is when there is a scramble drill, someone's got to get to the top of the numbers. That is, I don't know that we saw those things as a ton before T. Martin and Keith Williams showed up here for real. So just something I wanted to mention that I think is there in the practice situations in the scramble drill. And there's probably people listening who have more experience from the offensive standpoint than I do of running the scramble drill who can maybe speak to that. But I feel like I recognize elements of offensive practice now in the Ravens pass game that wasn't there pre-2021. All right, this is the one that everybody was real excited about. I'm excited about it, not just because of the juke by Isaiah Likely. And first of all, this guy, number 99, is a badass for the Titans. He's a good football player. But I'm excited about it because we got the under center, we got the stretch, and then the boot off of it with the quarterback. So there's a little piece of me that's like, wow, this is exactly what some of us have been looking for. And then, of course, we get the great throw by Tyler Huntley, working it around that linebacker. And then Likely he catches the ball at the 18, 17, something like that. And then jukes multiple people. I think his helmet ends up inside the 10 here. That is an athletic move that is a rare trait for a tight end. Now, we do have another one who could do this, Mark Andrews. Don't get me wrong. But that is a rare trait to be able to find all that space, again, near the top of the numbers, when there really wasn't any, and then be able to secure the football. It's a great play by Huntley, a great play by Likely, but what I really, really love is that we are under center. We're running the play to one side and coming back the other side. Look at the movement. There's 2 helmets there that are inside linebackers. So both of them are outside of this hash. So what have we done? Of course, we know this DN is going to attack the quarterback, all right? What have we done, though? This is now the wide side of the field. I know I'm drawing a lot of arrows, and they're not all straight, so forgive me. This is now the wide side of the field, all right? So down to the bottom side of the screen. The offense is right, the defense is left. We have really isolated a corner, what to me looks like a nickel safety, and then, let's call this the free safety. We've really isolated those guys. So part of Isaiah Likely being able to make these jukes is the space that's been created by the concept. Hopefully I said that in a way that makes sense and catches your attention. We're using a particular concept to get linebackers flowing this way and prevent what's called second level pursuit. You can see how badly this inside linebacker bit number 45. You got no one here to pursue at this defined pursuit angle that second level inside linebackers would normally pursue at, that they've been doing since they were 10, 12 years old. And to me, Isaiah Likely is the type of athlete to take advantage of that space. I love the concept. I hope we do it more often. Third down, I believe, and we're in trips again. You get what looked like possibly an offsides by a DN. I guess he didn't get in the neutral zone. And Isaiah Likely sits it up here. He's actually mad at himself after this play. Again, you can see, hopefully you can see at the top of the screen there, third down, 3rd and 12. Isaiah Likely catches the ball on the 22. The down to go is the 30. He's pissed off that he didn't get there. I believe that he expects to make plays no matter who he's going up against. We got two high-level guys that we've talked about. Shamar Bridges is maybe a little more, and I don't want to say limited. That's not the right word. His primary impact might come on a certain type of route, go, fades, maybe a slant, sluggo occasionally. But Isaiah Likely's a little more versatile, a little more widespread with how his impact is going to be. His impact's generally going to only be in the passing game. I just have a very different opinion of him as a blocker than other people do. But I really like the player. I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about what are his relative weaknesses. Under center, over concept, we usually run this from the pistol. We are under center, play action, and the over concept is going to have Likely run over the top of the second level, the linebackers. I believe this is number 45. First of all, it's cover 3, all right? Here's your deep corner, deep safety, deep corner. And then here's your underneath 4 droppers. Great catch by Likely. Let's deal with it from a Ravens perspective. And this has been covered by a lot of people already. Elevation, ball just sticks to his hands. Great challenge by that inside linebacker, man. Great throw and trust by Huntley. Awesome stuff. We're running our typical clear out down here, trying to keep this corner away from the play. This is all designed to go to the over route, if you ask me. And the corner comes off of that because he recognizes it because he's in zone. He gets back here, tries to challenge a play. But watch the inside linebackers, the conflict that they're presented with on the run fake. Coming downhill. So they've got the wrong read now. Around about this point in time, they're recognizing that it's actually play action pass. So what do? They've got the wrong read. They got to turn their back and get into their zone pass drop. And they both do it. They're well schooled. They've got to get out here to their zone pass drop. You can't do that by opening your hips up at a 45, which is your typical pass drop, if you read pass initially. I've covered this a handful of times. It's a wrong read, meaning they were wrong initially, and now they recognize the pass, turn their back, get out there to your zone. This is cover 3, even though his back's turned. Some people mistakenly said it was man. It was not. This is cover 3. Great challenge by the linebacker. Even better catch by Likely. I think I've got one more catch by Likely, and then we'll go to Makai Polk. Forgive me. That was the last catch by Likely. Makai Polk, undrafted guy, 100 catches last year in the SEC. Unbelievable. A friend of mine didn't know who he was and said, how did we get a guy undrafted who had 100 catches? Like, has he got an attitude? I said, I don't know, man, but he can play. So a stop route where he's just pushing off vertical. And there's a little bit of space here by the off coverage. So later on after this, they decided to stop playing off coverage on him. Could he get a little bit stronger? Well, yeah. Great hands, though. Great. Ball's already out by Huntley. Look at the read. There's the ball right there, already out. And we haven't even made our stop yet. Polk has great hands. To me, there's one guy on the team that catches the ball like Prochet, Bateman as well, and it's Polk. He's just got natural hands. He played in an air raid system, Mike Leach, in college. At least last year he did. I'm so glad we got all 3 of these guys. I'm excited about Polk. Being excited about Bridges and Likely is obvious. I think Makai Polk showed a lot. Later on in the game, man free. This is the go fade from Anthony Brown. So not a lot of separation, which is all a lot of people talk about. Again, I only have the sideline views here, but look at the ball placement by Brown. And then Polk has done this hundreds of times in the last 6 or 8 years, dating from college and then high school. This is what he does. I don't know why we're surprised that he's going to win some of these matchups. Against a starting corner or a number 2 corner in the NFL, is that ball going to be defended better? Yeah, definitely. I don't think he's going to see those guys if he's on the field. We can only put 4 or 5 receivers on the field at a time. I guess 3 if you're counting the impact of Mark Andrews. I think Makai Polk and Shamar Bridges and even Isaiah Likely are going to see nickel defensive backs. They're going to see other teams' 3rd, 4th best DB in man-free situations. Snag concept, not really a great example of the snag, but we are to the boundary. And what I like about this is, A, catching the ball clean again, protecting himself by turning his back, taking the hit that he knows is there, and holding on to the football. I don't know Makai Polk's history, protecting the football, fumbles, stuff like that. But I see a guy who spent hours upon hours catching short. I don't think Makai Polk is a down-the-field threat like Shamar Bridges at this point. I just don't. It just doesn't look like it based on the college film we saw. But this stuff right here, he's excellent at. Huge asset, if you ask me. Benjamin Victor, Jalen Moore also played well. I'm really focusing on the rookies here. I think that's what people want to see. I just was able to get all 22 film early this morning, so trying to put something out there. Another snag concept, if you're not tracking, up here in the top left, you can see the concepts that are built into the database. Oliver going out into the flats, and then the snag or hook, stop, whatever you want to call it. Quick decision by Anthony Brown, getting the ball out there, and again, catching the ball clean, protecting himself. We're short of the first down, obviously. It's a short gain on 2nd and 6. I don't know how you feel about Polk's game compared to Bridges and Likely. It's not as exciting from the standpoint of the catches that he made in the game. I think you see traits of a really high-level, classic, professional receiver. Physical strength would be a relative weakness of his. Maybe lower body strength as well. This is the slant. I was so hoping that we made this play. There's the ball. When you saw the end zone angle, which I think they showed in the replay, there was a tight window. Clearly, they trust him. Clearly, they trust him because there's a lot of jerseys to try to fit this through. Sorry. There's a lot of jerseys. The ball's already out. Try to fit this through to Polk. And man, I was hoping he made this catch. I jumped out of my chair. Because I was like, man, that would have been awesome. I've been a huge fan of his the whole time. Was he grabbed? Yes, he was grabbed. There's no question about that if you ask me. But he's got to get stronger. And, he's got to be able to make some of those plays if he wants to be, the player that he wants to be. Let me know what you guys think of the video in the comment section. I got multiple videos coming out tonight. This is just the first one. I thought this was the one that was probably most exciting for a lot of us to see young receiver talent, 2 of which are undrafted. So, if you're still hung up on that issue about not drafting guys, I don't know. I don't share your level of commitment to being pissed off about that. I'm just excited about the young guys that we have, particularly Shamar Bridges. How do you not enjoy, appreciate his story and root for someone like that? Makai Polk comes from a high level, 2 high level college programs. There's been a little more privilege is the wrong word. He's been in better situations for graduating from college to the NFL. Even Isaiah Likely's gone to, obviously Coastal Carolina is not known for football, but in the coaching circles, man, Coastal Carolina does some unique stuff offensively. Got a really good quarterback coming back. And, it was kind of not surprising to see Isaiah Likely having some impact. Shamar Bridges has kind of come out of nowhere. Super exciting. I'm really impressed with what the offense looked like overall. Run game stuff, under center stuff, some of the passing concepts. Having a guy like Shamar Bridges out there who can win the one-on-ones in this game simulated the effect that Rashad Bateman can have. Because Bateman can win those one-on-ones. You saw it last year in the second game against the Browns up there in Cleveland. Rashad Bateman was able to win those one-on-one matchups on the left side. You saw it in the Dolphins game in late third quarter, fourth quarter as well. He was winning that matchup on the left side consistently. This kind of simulated that same type of impact with Shamar Bridges. Let me know if you share my excitement, my optimism, or if you're cautiously optimistic, or if you're just out and out negative. That's your right to be so. I just don't share the same opinion as you, especially when these young guys are making plays in training camp, and we're hearing about it every day on social media. And then it translates to the preseason game when they're the first preseason game when they're playing against defensive guys who are at the same tier or level that they are in terms of the depth chart. Hope you guys appreciate this video. Let me know what you think of it. I've got another one coming out on Ravens run concepts a little bit later tonight.